All right, so you know how much we love diving deep into the stuff you send us?
Yeah.
And this time you sent over a podcast episode
Mm-hmm.
called Game Devs Exposed, Crunch, Burnout, and Secret Easter Eggs.
Ooh, that sounds juicy.
It is, and it's a pretty long one.
Okay.
So we've been going through the
That's
transcript,
right.
pulling out all the really important bits for you.
Like a highlight reel.
Exactly.
Love it.
So basically, this deep dive is your shortcut to understanding what it's actually like to work in the video game industry.
Yeah, behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff we don't usually see.
Right. So we're going to be talking about the really intense work culture, which a lot of people call crunch.
Ugh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Also, the impact of burnout on the developers themselves.
Makes sense.
And then for something a little bit lighter, the fun ways that developers kind of sneak their personalities into games.
So, like Easter eggs.
Yes, exactly. Easter eggs.
I love finding those.
Well, let's start with this whole crunch time thing.
All right, buckle up.
Yeah, because one of the podcast hosts, Sam, he described it like this.
Come on.
Imagine being 48 hours deep into coding a boss battle, surviving on energy drinks and rage.
Wow. Okay, so not exactly a calm and relaxed work environment.
No, not really.
I mean, I guess that makes sense, though, right? When you have these huge deadlines looming.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that it's not just like a one-time thing
Oh.
or just in like tiny indie studios or something.
Right.
The podcast really stresses that crunch, those crazy long hours, the nights, the weekends,
Yeah.
the huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's everywhere.
Really?
Even those massive AAA companies that you think would have it all figured out.
Huh. Interesting.
So they actually brought up a really good example.
Okay.
The launch of Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, yeah, everyone remembers that.
Right. It was super hyped.
Totally.
And then it was kind of a disaster when it came out.
It was buggy as heck.
Yeah. And the podcast hosts, they actually suggested that maybe the issues went beyond just the technical bugs.
Oh, you mean like
Yeah, maybe the crunch culture contributed to the problems.
they were rushing so much that they didn't have time to properly polish the game.
Exactly. So I think for anyone who plays video games,
Mm-hmm.
this kind of explains why some of those games that we're all super excited about,
Yeah.
they don't always launch in the best state.
It's like you can kind of tell when a game has been rushed.
Right. You can totally feel it.
Like there are things that just feel unfinished or unpolished.
And the podcast host brought up a good point.
What's that?
Like, why is this still happening? Why is crunch still such a big problem?
Yeah, good question.
And they mentioned a couple of things like demanding executives.
Yeah, so pressure from the top.
Yeah, basically. And then there's this other idea called the passion tax.
The passion tax, that sounds kind of ominous.
It is. It's basically this idea that, well, because developers love video games so much.
Yeah, they're passionate about it.
They should just be willing to put in a ton of extra hours for free.
Oh, wow. So basically taking advantage of people's love for their work.
Yeah. And Alex, the more energetic host.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah, he was the one who really highlighted this idea.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up.
It is. And I think for anyone who isn't a game developer, it might seem really unfair.
Totally using people's passion as an excuse to overwork them.
Exactly. And the podcast makes it really clear that crunch is a bad thing.
Okay.
It leads to burnout, obviously.
Right.
But it can also affect the quality of the games themselves.
Oh, that's ironic.
Yeah, like they're working all these crazy hours.
Yeah.
But it might actually make the games worse.
So it's counterproductive.
Totally.
Interesting.
But here's something really interesting that they mentioned.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
They were talking about old video games. And they brought up SimCity 2000.
Classics.
Remember that?
Oh, yeah. I spent hours on that game.
And apparently there was this cheat code.
A cheat code.
Called Stop the Madness.
Stop the madness.
Which referred to crunch mode.
Wow. So they were aware of it even back then.
Yeah, like way back then.
That's kind of mind-blowing.
I know, right? Like developers were already making jokes about crunch in their games.
Like it was a known issue?
Exactly. So it really shows you that this whole intense work culture, it's not a new thing.
It's been around forever?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
So obviously when you have all this pressure, it leads to burnout.
Makes sense.
And Sam, he actually called burnout the final boss no one prepared for.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. And they told this story about a developer who worked on Elden Ring.
Elden Ring, okay.
And after the game came out, this developer was so exhausted that they couldn't even play video games for months.
Oh, wow.
Like they were completely burned out.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
And it really shows you the personal cost of this kind of work culture.
It's sad.
It is.
Like these people are making the games that we love,
Right.
but they're paying a huge price for it.
Exactly. And the podcast hosts, they actually brought up some statistics from the IGDA.
IGDA.
Yeah, it's the International Game Developers Association.
Okay.
They basically advocate for game developers.
Got it.
And they do these surveys and stuff.
Interesting.
And their data is considered to be pretty reliable.
Right.
And what they found was that about 50%
50%.
game developers
That's a lot.
have thought about leaving the industry
Oh,
because of burnout.
yeah, that's a huge number.
It's huge.
That's scary.
It is. And it makes you think about
Yeah.
what kind of games would we be playing if all those talented people left?
Exactly. What would the industry even look like?
Right. So the podcast hosts, they talked about some potential solutions.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Some of them were kind of funny.
Like what?
Like they joked about mandatory therapy llamas.
Okay. Well, that's one way to deal with stress.
But then they also had some more serious ideas,
Okay.
like having reasonable deadlines.
Yeah, that seems like a good starting point.
It does, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe the problem is that the deadlines are just too crazy.
Yeah, maybe they need to be more realistic.
And they gave an example of a company that's actually doing this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Insomniac Games.
I've heard of them.
They make those Spider-Man games.
Oh, yeah, those are great.
And apparently they track what they call crunch meters.
Crunch meters.
Yeah, basically they're measuring how stressed out their employees are.
Interesting.
And if the stress levels get too high,
Yeah.
they're willing to delay the game.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
Like they're putting their employees' well-being first,
Exactly.
even if it means the game comes out a little later.
Right, and for gamers,
Yeah.
I think that's something we should all be happy about.
Totally. Like we want the people making our games to be treated well
Exactly.
and not be completely burned out.
Mm-hmm. And the podcast also pointed out
Yeah.
that game developer isn't just one job.
Right. It's a whole team of people.
Exactly. And they actually played this game
Oh, a game within a podcast.
called Toxic or Tough.
Okay.
And they used it to show
Yeah.
how different roles within game development
Mm.
have different kinds of stress.
Right.
Like they talked about QA testers.
QA testers, what do?
They're the people who play test the games.
Oh, okay. So they're looking for bugs and stuff. So it's like quality control.
Yeah. And it might sound like a fun job.
Yeah. Kind of like you get paid to play video games.
But they pointed out that it can be really tedious.
How so?
Like you're playing the same levels over and
Oh,
over.
yeah. That would get old.
And you're trying to find every single bug.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of pressure.
Right. Because you don't want a buggy game to be released.
Exactly.
So it's not all fun and games.
No, it's still work.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I think it's important for people to realize
Yeah.
that everyone on the development team
Right.
faces pressures.
Not just the programmers or the artists.
Exactly.
Everyone plays a role.
So let's move on to something a little more fun now.
Okay. I could use a break from all this stress talk.
Yeah, me too.
Let's lighten the mood.
Let's talk about secret Easter eggs.
Ooh, yes, I love Easter eggs.
They're the best.
It's like finding hidden treasure.
Totally. And it shows you that even though game development can be super intense,
Right, with all the crunch and burnout.
there's still room for creativity and fun.
Yeah, it's like developers are sneaking in these little surprises for us.
Exactly. And the podcast hosts, they mentioned a bunch of really cool examples.
I get heavy with them.
So first there's the literal cow level in Diablo II.
The cow level.
You heard of that?
Yeah, it's legendary.
It is.
Like everyone talks about the cow level.
And it's actually really interesting how it came about.
How so?
It actually started as just a rumor.
A rumor.
Yeah, like among players.
Oh, so it wasn't even real at first.
No, but then the developers,
Yeah.
they decided to put it in the game.
So they listened to the fans.
Yeah, and I think that shows you
Mm-hmm.
how sometimes the relationship between developers and the community
Right.
can actually influence what goes into the game.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
Like the fans helped create this whole thing.
And then they talked about a very different kind of Easter egg
Okay.
in GTA 4.
Grand Theft Auto 4.
There's this heart locket
A heart locket.
that actually references a developer's late wife.
Oh, wow. That's really touching.
It is, and it shows you
Yeah.
that these Easter eggs can be really personal.
Yeah, like little tributes.
Yeah, or like love letters to people.
That's beautiful.
And then there's the veteran skull in Halo 3.
The veteran skull. Okay.
Have you ever gotten that one?
No, I haven't actually played Halo 3.
Oh, okay. Well, it's supposed to be ridiculously hard to find.
Oh, so like a challenge for hardcore players.
Yeah, and the podcast hosts, they joked that the developers were just trolling the players.
Like trying to mess with them.
Exactly.
That's funny.
And then there's a hidden room in Overwatch
Overwatch. Oh, yeah, I love that game.
with pizza and disco balls.
Pizza and disco balls. What?
Yeah, I know, right? It just sounds like a fun little inside joke.
Like the developers just having a laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
And then they mentioned one that was super impressive.
Ah, okay. I'm ready to be impressed.
So in Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon,
Okay.
there's a working NES emulator.
What? A NES emulator?
No, you can actually play a whole other game.
No way.
Yeah, it's called Turtle Punch.
A game within a game that's wild.
I know, right?
That's so creative.
It is.
And technically impressive.
Totally.
Like, how did they even do that?
So I think all these examples,
Yeah.
they really show you
Mm-hmm.
that Easter eggs can be more than just fun little surprises.
Right. They can have deeper meaning.
Yeah. And the podcast hosts suggested that they could be like inside jokes among the development team.
Right. Like their own little secret language.
Or like personal messages to the players.
Yeah, like little love notes.
Or just a way for developers to express their personality and have some fun.
Yeah, especially with all the pressure they're under.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like a little reminder that there are real people behind these games. People with a sense of humor and creativity.
So when we put it all together,
Okay.
I think this deep dive into the podcast
Yeah.
really shows us
Mm-hmm.
that game development is a really complex thing.
For sure. It's not just one thing.
There's the intense work culture, the crunch, the burnout,
Right. The dark side.
but then there's also the creativity and passion.
Yeah. The light side.
And the personal touches like the Easter eggs.
It's like a double-edged sword.
Totally.
It's both amazing and kind of worrying at the same time.
And I think it's important for gamers to understand all of this.
Yeah, I agree.
So what can we do as gamers?
Good question.
Well, the podcast hosts, they suggested a few things.
Okay.
Like supporting studios that have good work practices.
Right. So voting with our wallets?
Exactly. Like choosing to buy games from companies that treat their employees well.
That makes sense.
And maybe exploring more indie games.
Oh, yeah. Supporting the little guys.
Yeah, and just appreciating the hard work that goes into making these games.
I think we often take that for granted. Like, we just see the finished product,
Yeah.
but we don't always think about all the blood, sweat, and tears that went into it.
And they even joked about thanking developers for Easter eggs.
Oh, that's sweet.
Unless it's like a really overused meme.
Yeah, okay, maybe not that.
But I think it's a good sentiment.
It is like showing your appreciation for the little details.
And the podcast you sent,
Mm-hmm.
it actually ended by saying that
Yeah.
they might talk about some related topics in the future.
Like what?
Like microtransactions.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole other can of worms.
It is, and it makes you think about the bigger picture.
Right, like the economics of the gaming industry.
Yeah, and how that affects the games we play.
And the people who make them.
Exactly. So it's something to keep in mind
Definitely.
when you're choosing which games to buy and play.
Yeah, it's not just about the fun factor.
There's a lot more to it.
Like the ethics and the impact on the people involved.
Exactly.
Food for thought.
Totally.
Thanks for sending this one in.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Definitely